I specialize in vehicle design and kind of vehicle modification, and that's kind of where my true passion lies within this industry. It's cars and seeing what can be done with cars. I'm from the UK. I'm a concept artist working in the game and film industry, and I've been doing that for probably around 6 to 7 years now. Car culture for me is a very personal thing. From a young age, I've always been extremely fascinated by cars and what can be done to cars. Some people buy cars because it ferries them around from A to B. But then you have this other side to car culture where people buy cars because it's almost an extension of themselves. We modify our cars to reflect our personality and our character. And I think that's something that I've always admired about the car world and car culture, because it is essentially a reflection of yourself. And it's just something very inspiring, it inspires you to see how far you can push boundaries. It's always nice to kind of have a bit of a rebellious side, and I feel like people do that through their cars, which is, it's fun. Yes, and I'd be worried if I said no to that. I've always been a fan of video games, racing games in particular. So one benefit of being a freelancer within this industry, it means I have creative freedom to work on projects that interest me. You guys at the Crew 2 approached me to work on a particular project with you guys. Yeah, I thought it would be a really fun opportunity for me to do something different and something unique. I've been a fan of the Crew games for a while now, and I played the first one. So to kind of develop something for this game, the prospect of that I found quite exciting. For the Crew 2, I received a brief to design what would become a very cool hero car. It was a vehicle that would be boss car for an outlaw group that the player would then chase, which I think is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing to do, and to design a car for people to actively chase, crash into and destroy is awesome. It was simple, but it was also a bit challenging for me, just because it required me to create a car from scratch. I had to create a car that people could understand that this wasn't a normal car. It had to look special. It had to kind of have certain characteristics that matched its function. So in the brief, it was described to be a kind of muscle car type car, aggressive looking, and something that a boss type character would drive. So I started with a very basic shape, very basic silhouette on top of a kind of chassis that I was provided. And this really helped me lay down the base groundwork for a silhouette that I really liked. So kind of taking muscle car influences from the real world, you have these big engines, so kind of hood scoops and very aggressive lines, and kind of sleek fastback type rear end. That's kind of the image that I had from the very start for this car. And as the design kind of developed, I started focusing my attention on the front end of the car, trying to make it look aggressive and trying to make it look mean. If you were to see this car in your rearview mirror, you'd be like, all right, I want to get out of the way. The brief kind of enabled me to explore lighting, which, if you know me in my personal work, I really enjoy playing with lights on cars, in the sense of making something different, making something futuristic or a little bit sci-fi-esque. So like on the rear of this car, you'll notice kind of this triple 3-layer LED light bar panel thing, and it's kind of a throwback to classic American muscle cars, but also with a bit of new, modern hypercar flair. I really enjoyed that challenging alternative side of this brief personally, because it's not something I haven't really done before. And yeah, the fact that this car is going to go in game, and you know, people are gonna be racing against this thing, and you know, trying to take this car down is pretty cool. The cherry on top of the cake here is the fact that I was able to include my own personal KS logo on this car, and in the game as well, which is always it's always an exciting thing to have your own logo in a game, but to have it on this boss vehicle with a kind of livery as well that is a throwback and kind of homage to my real world cars is extra special. I think it has to be a very special green BMW E30 featuring my own kit that I designed, which we showcased at SEMA show last year, built by a very talented team in the US, Rebellion Forge Racing. They went above and beyond with this car. You know, it has a very alien looking engine at the front and kind of intake setup. Yeah, I think that's probably to date my favorite creation. 3D isn't something I was always doing. For the longest time, I was using 2D to create my projects. But it's always been a kind of almost a form of meditation for me. It's a way for me to get my ideas from here out onto a screen. It's like, you know, it's my canvas. And the fact that people also enjoy what I create is an added bonus, you know. But my work is now primarily 3D based. And in terms of cars, it's great because I can create any vehicle that I like from any angle, in any environment, any atmosphere, any feeling. It's just something I really enjoy and I'm really passionate about. And furthermore, it's enabled me to bring my creations to life also. So for those that don't know, I also own my own body kit company, LTO. And I started this 2 years ago now. And kind of since then, I've had more projects come to life, and it's a crazy feeling. But I think the main part of this and the reason why I still continue to do it today is because it inspires others. Well, you're pushing boundaries that people didn't really think, you know, you could go past, and especially in real world creation. And that's why sometimes my concepts are so crazy, and you look at that and you're like, how on earth would you drive that? I think it's when you go too far with design, yes, it's not real world ready, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't inspired someone to push their car to a certain level that they previously didn't think they could. And that's what I really enjoy about 3D. It's just the possibilities there are endless. You can stay up to date with all my work on Instagram at @the_Khyzyl, Facebook, Twitter, and ArtStation as well, where you can kind of see my more polished works. Oh, and YouTube. I post time lapses there. You can see how I create my work, so that might be beneficial to some people, or, you know, be of some interest.